And so, all that is truly required is sincerity. Sincerity that is connected to the true longing will bring everything into alignment. Where there is a sincerity, where there is a focus, it will naturally bring everything into alignment with what is longed for. With this comes a humility to let go of what the mind thinks and what the mind wants, and to be in the sincerity, the simplicity, we could say, of the sincerity of what is longed for. And then just to let go and leave it to God, leave it to Mother. If you are aligned with the heart in sincerity, and you continually keep turning to what is longed for, you keep turning to God, to Mother, to truth, to the self, whatever word, it's all the same. To not let a breath pass without the attention being in that sincerity and what is truly longed for. Then everything takes care of itself, because you are handing over in a true surrender the control of the me and the wanting and the desiring of the me. You are handing it over to the only one that can do anything. You, the me, cannot do anything. It is the handing over of doership. It is handing over in a quality of surrender that trusts the only one that does, which is the supreme divine being. So we could say, where there seem to be obstacles, who is doing that? Yes, it is her. Where there is grace flowing and gorgeousness arising in the life, who is doing that? Yes, that too is her. There's nothing that moves a nano fraction without her grace. So what humility it takes to hand everything over to that grace. But to hand everything over to that grace means letting go of control, letting go of the doer. And of course, you cannot do letting go of the doer. So there's the conundrum for the mind. How can I do this? How can I be the most sincere, best student? How can I be the one that can get this, right? You see the subtleties of how the mind can trap itself, even with what is being spoken here. So what is being spoken here are such open, simple pointings, but the habit of the mind is to conceptualize and to create something out of nothing. These words are silence. These words are utter emptiness. There's nothing here. What is being pointed to is the truth. The only way that you can receive the truth that these words are pointing to is to receive the resonance. Align with the resonance. Align with your sincerity, with your longing. It's all the same. What you start to notice is that everything that is being pointed to brings you to exactly the same. A million gazillion pointings, all pointing to the one self, the being. It's not pointing you in all different directions. The mind can create that possibility. Every single pointing We could even elaborate here and say through every single form that is sharing this truth, every pointing is pointing to the same, even if it seems to have a different flavor. There's only one truth. You are that truth. So it is about receiving the resonance that comes alive in the gorgeous illuminated presence of yourself. It is the self being illuminated in its own presence, remembering itself, feeling its aliveness, feeling its truth. Feeling the truth of who you are is not about the me getting something different. It's about the illumination becoming so bright, so brilliant, that it removes the seeming veils of ignorance, the ignoring of the self, right? So it's not about getting something different. It's not a new overlay. It's not a new immaculate persona that we're speaking of. We're speaking of removing the persona and revealing the immaculate, right? It's about removing everything that veils what's already here. It's letting go of playing the game of being the jiva, the individual, and living as Shiva. Living as the light of pure awareness. Living as your true self. Do not even accept the false notion of individuality in the ego for one single second. Because if you accept the seeming illusion of separation, as soon as you accept that and you start living as that, then within that illusion, you will start finding techniques as a me, as an individual, to try to remove the individual. Can you feel what's being pointed to here? If you are an individual looking to get rid of your individuality, you are stuck already in the trap. All practices, all techniques, all sadhana that are the individual trying to improve itself, trying to find itself, it's all playing within the illusion. It's all playing within the dream. So you have to come to what cuts right through that, the laser sharp possibility of just being here now, in your sincerity, in the longing, which brings you to this presence of just being and staying so still, silent, wordless as the being, so sincere, so committed. This is the pointing that is the gift, the jewel of satsang. The gift of satsang is that it points you inside, inward, towards the self, and says, do not continue to waste your time pointed outward. Do not continue to waste your time with anything that cannot bring you the tasty, delicious fruit of yourself. Do not waste your time playing in the illusion, trying to find ways to, we could say, get rid of the ego, see through the ego. We nearly said illegal there. I think that's a subtle symbol. Tripping over the words, we spoke of the illegal, the ego that does not even exist. we have to receive these signs, not to give them meaning, but just to find out where we land when we trip. Right? Because every trip is a trip of grace. We fall on our knees, skin our knees. It's not a mistake. We are being humbled. We fall and we graze our nose. It's not a mistake. We are being humbled. We are being constantly invited to be brought to our knees. And the secret is, do not try to avoid it. Receive the humbling with grace. There's so far to fall. There's so far to fall. It's so hard for the me to keep finding more to surrender, more to surrender. How rude the divine is to keep humbling me again and again. There is so far to fall, so far to fall. Because we have built ourselves up so high and so mighty, right? So far to fall. So it takes a little bit of a process to tumble the one that is so held in the protection. This world that plays in the realms of spirituality, it's such a Disneyland. It's such a Disneyland for the ego. Oh, dare we say that? The world of non-duality is the biggest Disneyland of spirituality. There are so many possibilities, so many places to get hooked and trapped in the world, climbing ladders, believing in all sorts of things that the me has achieved, has gained. It's so easy to put so many words to this truth that is simple and wordless. It's so easy to give meaning, and it's so easy in that for the subtle threads of ego to take a grip and then to start living a spiritual life, an awakened life in the world as the one that's got something. Such a trap. It's such a trap. Freedom is so free. It's free of all of that. Freedom is simple. Freedom is so simple. Truth is so incredibly simple. There is no separation. There is no difference. There are no others. And this is really about coming to realize that and receiving the grace of life that will tumble us if we allow it. Life is the guru, and life will tumble us to our knees again and again and again, humbling us into the recognition that all that we truly want, all that is truly longed for, is freedom, is truth, is grace, is God, is Mother, is the pure knowing of being the one self, the Almighty, the self absolute. The true longing isn't wanting to know all the technicalities of the process of awakening. It's not wanting to know, am I here or am I here? What do I need to do to get there? It's not about this, right? There's profundity in the intelligence that comes forward. There's profundity, and it's truth. It's truth. There's no question. There's a lot of incredible beauty in the intelligence that can come forward from the field. It gets spoken of here. And now, what is being spoken of is saying, forget about that. Forget about that, because it's sunny and it's Friday. So let's forget about all of that and just really focus, really focus on what matters. Because it's so easy for the mind to get hooked. We could say, perhaps it plays out as a trick. It plays out, it gets spoken about, and it's testing you to see, are you hooked in that? Or are you compelled to the simplicity of freedom? Because this is how she works. This is how she works. She will play every single trick that she can divinely conjure up from the divine realms of her luminous, unfathomable divinity. She will conjure up untold tricks and tests to see where you can be hooked. Because where you can be hooked, you need to be smoothed. You need to be humbled. All of us We're all included in this, right? We are constantly being humbled. Oh, and such a breath of fresh air to come to the simplicity of simple freedom. Feel it blowing through. Just feels so fresh, so clean, so pure. It's who you already are. And when you come to the sincerity of what is longed for, and receive the invitation that says, turn towards yourself again and again and again. This is the grace that the Holy Mountain offers. This is the grace of Arunachala. This is the grace of the Supreme Being in its Shiva nature. It's so clean. When it's pure, when it's not sullied by the tendencies, the Shiva tendencies that can be carried along the way to hold tight, to want, to be very firm, to be the one who knows. When all of that has been purified, the clarity of Shiva as the Supreme Lord, the same as the Mother, is so fresh, so bright. It's the diamond, luminous brilliance of the divine shining. So fresh, so clear. The immaculate that you already are. And it's laser sharp, cuts through all of the nonsense that we can get trapped in. And brings us right here now, wherever you are open to feel the freshness of that is such glory. It's golden. To feel the depth of what has been recognized in the freshness of being completely unburdened by any concepts or conditioning that has even been taken on within the spiritual journey. It can be so laden. And sometimes it's of benefit. It's not to say that there's anything ever wrong. It's always perfect. But this moment here now is a fresh moment that is so beaming and shining with its golden Shiva nature. The Mother Shiva, Shivali, Parvati, Uma. We can say so many words that mean the same thing. Is she nestled in him? Is he nestled in her? It doesn't matter. It's all the same. It's divinity. It is divinity so pure and so fresh. So, sincerity, humility, receiving all of life as grace. Receiving all of life as grace. Everything that humbles us is such a gift. And it brings us again and again and again to this moment here now, even fresher, even clearer, even more brilliant, more dazzling. The self shining as itself. The jiva, the individual, which could be called the soul, the individual soul, is always Shiva. And it is about where are you living? Are you living as an individual that's on a journey? Or are you living right here now, the cutting edge of truth? This moment, so fresh, so illuminated, where you are in your Shiva, in your divine nature, in your clarity, in the aware being. Where awareness is where you are. This is the truth of this moment. And the sincerity says, live this. I am, I am, I am. Turned to the glory, to the glory, to the glory. And this is the quality of surrender. It's also devotion. It's pure devotion. It's the flow of bhakti. We could say, it's the flow of bhakti that is flowing in pure devotion to itself. You do not have to know anything here. This is the glory. So the ones that think you need to know and be successful in the world of knowing, the worldly realm of knowledge, give it all up right now. Throw it into the river. Throw it into the river of pure knowing, where you do not know anything. So the mind can say, where you're speaking about knowing and you're speaking about pure knowing, you're speaking about giving it up. What am I to do? What am I to do? Give it up. Give it up. Give up the doing. Give it all to God. Give it all to Shiva right here. Stand in the luminous, luminous brilliance of the dawning of the self, the knowledge of the self. Stand as if you are standing in the brilliance of the sun that's blinding everything else. Give it all up to the brilliance. Give it all up to not know, to not understand, and just feel your devotion. Feel the bhakti flowing. This is what is longed for. What is longed for. You do not even need to have a word for it. To be here so fully in this holy moment. Love, love, love. God, God, God. Mother, mother, mother. Shiva, Shiva, Shiva. Truth, truth, truth. You see, it doesn't matter what the word is. The resonance is the same. And this is what we are pointing to. It is the resonance. Be in the alive resonance of presence. Stand so fully right here, facing yourself. The dazzling brilliance of yourself. Look right in to the gaze that blinds all that is not true and leaves only what is real. When you cannot see the story, you cannot see the nonsense that the mind can get so compelled by, so allured, seduced by. When you are so dazzled in the radiance of yourself, all that remains, all that is here, is just the being itself, the presence that you are, that you have always been. Yes, it's just the same. It's you without your story. It's you without giving meaning to this moment based on a me that wants. Sincerity invites giving up your wanting of awakening, even giving up your wanting of enlightenment, because where there's a wanting, it often, usually, mostly, let's be honest, will come laden with a whole myriad of ideas of what that is and what I want that to look like. And all of that is usually wrong because it's usually concept, right? We could even say you can melt your concepts down to their essence. Melt all of your concepts, all of your ideas and beliefs about enlightenment right down to their essence. When you melt them down to their molten state, you find the presence of being is all that's here. You melt all thoughts, all ideas, melt it all down. And where does it come from? What does it leave? It leaves the infinite puddle of molten gold that is your true nature. It's all there is. It's all there is. So there is a simplicity to freedom, which is this emptiness, empty of content, empty of me and mine, and full of the knowing of the self, full of just being. So We can hear all of these ideas. Is it being or non-being? Is it self or non-self? Is it this self or that self? This is where we throw it all in. We throw it all in. And it's just to be free. Be free of even all of that. Be so free that all that is here now is the felt sense of your own presence, just being. And when you come to this moment, this presence, you will come to the deepest value that you have opened to. You do not have to worry about doing anything, about opening deeper and purifying deeper into where we could say this incredible landscape of consciousness can carry itself. Because you are not the doer of that. And if you get sidetracked by the idea of being the doer of that, then you will be lost in the me, in the ego sense, the individual that's on a journey. So, the Buddha said, even the Dharma is empty, right? All teachings have to be transcended. All teachings have to be transcended. And all you find is your own self, just being. Brings you to this incredible profundity of an autonomy of the self, where you recognize the being, and then you are in the knowing. The knowing. The knowing is yourself, being itself, boundless, infinite, blissful emptiness. What you can be sure of is that when you are resting as yourself in pure devotion with your prostration being, the self prostrating only to itself, love, falling in love only with itself, falling at its own feet, we could say, then what you can be sure of is that you are being carried by the flow of grace into the deepest possibility of realization in this lifetime, without needing to define it or understand it. So sometimes the flow of words will come from the divine in order to bring forward the wisdom so that there can be ahas, because there can be so much that you are living already, but until you hear it spoken, you don't recognize it. When you hear it spoken, there's a recognition that brings more of the subtle perception, the intelligence alive. When you hear it spoken, you recognize, oh, yes, that is myself. The knowing of that is here. But then it's not to hang on to that and to grasp it. It's just to let that piece of your wholeness fall into the infinite basket. We could say when you are gathering the pieces of wholeness, what you have to be sure of is that you do not hold on to anything. That as you gather a piece of wholeness, we could say there's a certain feeling of becoming it, that you become one with it. But even deeper than that, you devour it. You devour it and you let go of it. So you become one with it and then you let it fall away. You become one with it and then you let it fall away. And that falling away is the devouring of it. It's not in any way holding on to a referring, right? Oh, I am that and I am that and I am that. It's just to know you are that. And that is what speaks that. And when that really knows it is that, it doesn't keep saying, I am that, I am that, I am that, right? So this is the process of becoming, recognizing I am that, and that, and that. I am everything. I am the trees, I am the flowers, I am the bees, I am the grass, I am the monkeys, I am the beetles, I am the joy, I am the pain, I am the seeming suffering, I am all of it, drinking it all in, becoming it, becoming one with it, recognizing yourself in all of it. When you recognize that it's not outside of you, that it's only your awareness of that brings it into knowing, it brings it into the knowing. So there's a recognition But as this deepens, the wholeness is not clung to, and wholeness truly opens in its entirety, in its totality, when the devouring is so deep that nothing is clung to, because you cannot lose yourself anywhere. You cannot leave yourself. You cannot leave yourself in the face of anything. You cannot leave yourself and go into the mind, because there is no mind that's separate, right? This is what's in process. This is what's in process. You are devouring everything. Who are you that's devouring everything? You are Brahman. You are your God nature. You are devouring everything into the remembering of wholeness. The one that is devouring is the totality, the divine reality, the Shiva that you already are. You are devouring everything. So, you see, it just depends which perspective you are seeing from. You are not becoming something that you are not already. This process that seems to be a process in time is just, it's devouring, removing, eliminating all of the veils that seem to hide this immaculate truth. You are not becoming immaculate. You are discovering that you have only ever been the immaculate, pure, shining being, the divine being, the divine one, the one divine. This is the truth. This is the truth. And it's so free. It's so clear. It's so radiantly beautiful. When you are sincerely turned to this that you are longing for, we could say, sincerely turn to what you have already recognized, the depth that the knowing is already in place. When you are turned in every nanosecond to this, when you do not leave this, it is not that you cannot leave your house or your chair. You allow, of course, you are completely moved as a player in the world. But you still do not ever have to leave yourself. You never have to leave yourself. You are animated by the divine. Every breath is a divine movement, a divine flow of grace. But you are that breath. You are that which is animating. You are life itself, living itself. You are not the separate one. There is no separate one. This is the truth. There is no separation, right? So let's be clear. You're not in separation and out of separation. There is no separation, right? If you believe in separation, if you believe in separation, if you believe that you are an individual and you live as an individual, trying to free yourself from individuality, you are already trapped. So, come to freedom. Come right now in this moment to being. Feel the radiance of being. Feel it in the simplicity of the I am presence. I am, I am, I am. Before the name, before the first thought, I am, I am, I am. Here now, here now, here now. Existence, simple existence, the felt sense of your simple existence. Just being, just being, just being. All pointing to the same, the presence, your own presence, the felt sense of presence. Presence, present to itself. Presence, present to itself. Being the boundless being. Being the boundless being. Feel yourself everywhere. Openness, emptiness, simplicity, freedom, stillness, silence. Every word pointing to the same. not pointing in different directions. Every word an outstretched hand, pointing inwards, 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 to the silence, the silence, the silence, to the unmoving, the unmoving, the unmoving, the unchanging, unmoving stillness of being, of being, of being. You feel yourself, you fall into being the being that has always been here. And you know this being, it's so familiar. You are home, home, home. Every word pointing to the very same, pointing towards the truth, the truth, the truth, the resonance aligning, aligning, aligning. The subtle frequency of being, just being, just being, just being, where there is nothing to know, nothing to know, nothing to do, nothing to understand, nothing to get, to attain, to achieve. There's nothing here but just being, 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 being. Do not even move towards the simple wondering, is this it? Is this it? Is it this simple? Could it be? Could it be? Let it go, and just be. Do not let a single subtle thought come between you and yourself. Do not let a single hair's breadth come between you and yourself. There cannot be a single atom between you and yourself for the knowing to be so rich and full. Just being, just being, just being. In utter sincerity and prostration to yourself. The longing, the longing, the longing. Turning, how do you turn? How do you turn? Which way do you turn? How do you turn inwards? Through being here now. Being here now. Being here now. And feeling the aliveness of the presence. Feeling it, not thinking it. Cut off your head. Cut off your head. Cut off your head right now and feel, are you still here? Yes, yes, yes. Oh, yes. The resonance, love, 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 love is what is here when there is no separation. Freedom, freedom, the simplicity. Every word, the same resonance. No meaning, just the resonance of truth, of truth, of truth. Feel the aliveness of the silent presence. Feel that it feels like it's inside and it's outside, that there's no difference. Feel it in the silence now. Do not look for anything. Just be yourself. Be the felt sense of being and nothing else. Just now, just for this moment, just for fun. Let it all go and be yourself. For the love of God, for the love of Mother, let it all go and be yourself. Do not worry. You can collect your individuality at the door as you leave, if that is what you wish. So do not worry. Mm. Be yourself. Feel how that which feels to be individuality, it is still here. But the felt sense is that there is no separation, that you are everywhere. You are openness. You are the being, just being. It is just to watch and notice that even a single thought, the first thought, will carry the attention to the felt sense of being an individual. But it's not truth. It's just the attention wandering. Be not fooled. Be not fooled. Be yourself. The sincerity to keep turning again and again and again. Do not let a single breath pass by without being, being, being. Getting used to being so constant, like an internal japa. Here, now, self, the self, the self. Truth, truth, truth. Who, 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 who are you? Who, who, who? You cannot find the individual one that you thought you were. Who? Who is that one? You follow that back. You let it dissolve into its molten state, its essence, and all you find is the self, the presence, the presence, the presence. Just being, just being. Mm. 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 The stillness, the silence, the simplicity of being, the dazzling brilliance of your own radiance that is the heart, the silence of the heart, the stillness of the heart. And yet it is so alive with its own knowing, its own presence. So vast, so free, so clear and pure, immaculate being you are. Mm. There's nothing to do. The confirmation is in being. Being the being, the knowing is here because you are it. You are the self, knowing itself. You are the being, being itself. It's so simple. It's always been here. This is who you have always been. There's nothing to seek for. It's to let go of seeking, let go of the idea of the journey, and just be here in utter sincerity, in utter earnestness. Turn to yourself, fold into yourself, melt into your own essence. Find out where everything that feels to be separate, find out where it has emerged from, and fall back into that right now, right now. The sincerity carries you. You do not have to do a thing, but just be so fully here to long for this truth more than the mind's longing for getting what it wants. Long for this truth more than anything else, and it is yours because it is who you are. It is who you are. Want only this, and the sincerity will carry you into this moment so deeply. This is all there is. For the love of God, let it all go and just be yourself. For the love of Mother, let it all go. Let go into her is all there is. The pure divine, letting go into Shiva, into the dazzling brilliance of your own nature, walking right into the light of your own radiant heart. Mm. Mm. Mm.